Hello to Mrs. Hemphill's social studies students. Y'all asked some amazing questions, and I thought I would just do a quick video and just answer all the questions that I've received thus far. And then if y'all have more, then I'd be delighted to answer even more. So for those of you that don't know me, I am Elizabeth Rosner. My students call me Dr. Roz. And amongst the many things that I do is I am the Special Projects Manager as well as Certified Trainer for the Martin Luther King Center. And so I'm just going to answer these questions in the order I was given them. Why did you decide to work for the King Center? That is an excellent question. I have a mentor who says our identity is where we put the dent in the universe. And the first time that I encountered the philosophy and methodology of nonviolence, it was at a training on the grounds at the King Center. I knew that teaching nonviolence around the world was what I was meant to do. For those of you, you're kind of thinking about, what am I going to do in my future? I'm not sure what makes me come alive. For me, I knew that teaching, that was something that was always deeply embedded within me. But once I encountered the philosophy and methodology of nonviolence, that's when I knew. And so from the time that I encountered that until the time I became a contract employee was about 3 years. And so it took a long time, but then it was the perfect position for me. So that's just a little bit about how I decided to work there. How did I meet Dr. King's daughter? Well, Dr. King's daughter, Dr. Bernice A. King, is our CEO. And so she is the boss of the organization where I work. She also participated in the first training that I attended. And so you will see her online a good bit. And so that's how I met her. What is a regular day like working at the King Center? It is different every single day, and that's why it's so beautiful. In the last month, of course, keep in mind that it's been King holiday, so it's been a lot of activity. But in the last month, I have spoken to diplomats from Israel, from China, from Brazil. I have spoken to representatives from an NBA team and from an NFL team. I don't know if you all have seen that, and the WNBA. So I don't know if you've seen that the Dream has become our first beloved community team. So they're saying, yes, we want to adopt the philosophy of nonviolence. For those of you that watch football on Monday, the King holiday, both Dallas and Tampa Bay had Be Love on their helmets. And so lots of opportunities. So that's just it, kind of at a upper level. Day in, day out, though, I get to talk to people all over the world. There are 8 billion people in the world. And I get to talk to the ones that reach out that say, hey, I'd like to know more about nonviolence. I'd like to know more about what you do at the King Center. And sometimes I'm talking to folks who really want it for their own personal growth, the training. And then I've talked to people who want us to come present to a group. I've talked to people who want to use this training in their organization. And so it just varies. What's beautiful about it is the person who wants to impact themselves personally is every bit as important as the diplomat from one of those countries that I mentioned. Every single person is important. Can we meet Bernice King? I would be delighted if I could say, absolutely, let me set that up for you. Dr. Bernice is so incredibly busy. She flies and travels all over the world. I will say she loves young people. And so if you do want to meet Dr. Bernice King, while I can't set that up for you, here's what I challenge you to do. Become a nonviolence practitioner. There are so many ways as teenagers that you can look into this. So reading books, going through the online course, when you begin following the King Center on Twitter, on YouTube, watching the YouTube videos, really deeply learning and steeping yourself in nonviolence is really, really critical, and certainly a great way to meet her. We also have something called the Beloved Community Leadership Academy. And if you'll follow us online and sign up for information about that, it's for 13 to 18-year-olds. And that may be also an opportunity to certainly learn more about nonviolence and perhaps encounter Dr. Bernice King. What is the King Center made for? Thank you for this question. The King Center, as Mrs. Coretta Scott King, our founder, said, it is not a dead monument. to her husband. It is a living memorial, both to Dr. King as well as to the philosophy and methodology of nonviolence. So what do I mean by that? As we define nonviolence at the King Center, it's a love-centered way of thinking, speaking, engaging, and acting. So first we start with love-centered. And what are our words saying? What are we thinking about ourselves and other people? Because being loved starts with yourself, right? So thinking, speaking, engaging. So that person that you're encountering, let's say, for example, that you've got a conflict with somebody, you can either use your words and say, I don't agree with you here, and let's resolve this, or you can use physical violence. And sometimes physical violence results in negative consequences, whereas using words to resolve conflicts you can also hear that other person's side. If you're being love-centered and that person's being love-centered, think about the power of that. Think about the power of that. So that's what the King Center is made for. We often talk about the philosophy of nonviolence. That's a really big word. A lot of scholarship, a lot of really smart people have written about nonviolence for a really long time. It's also a methodology, which means it's practical. So every single day, I look at those 6 principles and I say, am I being love-centered? Am I keeping within these principles when I have these interactions, when I have these thoughts with other people? And then we have the 6 steps to addressing conflict. Let me tell you, you all asked some amazing, amazing questions. I am delighted that I had an opportunity to answer just a few of those today. And I have told Mrs. Hemphill, if additional questions come in, then please send them to me. And I'm enjoying this video repartee that we're having. And maybe one day, Mrs. Hemphill will invite me to come in person to meet each of you. Until then, thank you so much. Please follow the King Center on social media and on YouTube. And again, delighted that you're interested in the King Center Nonviolence. Thanks, y'all. Bye-bye.